In this video, we're going to talk about the new User Explorer report within Google Analytics, and I'll show you how you can identify individual users, see what they're doing on your website, and give you tips on how you can leverage the User ID feature to make better sense of your data. All and more coming up, so let's dive in. Hi there, and welcome to another video of MeasureSchool.com, where we teach you the data-driven way of digital marketing. Alright, in this video we're going to talk about this new report within Google Analytics, which you can find under Audience, and it's called the User Explorer report, which came out recently. Now, this User Explorer report really takes care of looking at data in Google Analytics on an individual user basis. Most of the data that you see within Google Analytics is aggregate data. You are not able to find a specific user, where he came from, what he did on your website, and if you converted. With this new User Explorer report, we have that data available. And for the first time, Google Analytics actually shows us the client ID by default. So a dimension that was previously already in Google Analytics but not shown to the user is now available in this report. So here you can see the client ID, which represents one individual user on your website. And if you click through on one of these, you can actually see the different interactions that he took on your website. So a view, an event, if you have these installed. And also, let's go further back here, purchases or goal completions that were achieved on your website. Now, this is a great report because we can see how many sessions the user generated, how long he stayed on the website, and the revenue that he made on our site. You can also see the acquisition channel and what devices he used to come to our website. Now, all this is possible because Google Analytics sets a cookie when you enter a website and gives out a randomly generated client ID. And this client ID identifies the user to Google Analytics. Now, if the user leaves the site and comes back with the same cookie and the same client ID, Google Analytics will recognize this and continue the user record, and all the different page views, events, and sessions will be attributed to this one user. So we now have a great view on an individual user basis. Now, unfortunately, this client ID doesn't tell us much. We could capture the client ID with Google Tag Manager, and I explained that in another video on custom JavaScript variables on how to pick up this information. And later you could match up the client ID with an email address that is in your system. Please be aware that you are not allowed to send in any personal identifiable information, such as the email address, into Google Analytics, because that's against the terms of service, and you would be endangered that your account would be shut down. Now, this is all well and good. The client ID is visible now within Google Analytics. But when you're looking at individual users, the cookie-based method is actually not very reliable. And Google Analytics has a second feature in order to authenticate the user to the system in a different way, which is called the User ID feature. And I have this enabled on MeasureSchool, so we can take a look at the data here, where we only see people who are actually identified to the system. And we also have the User Explorer report available. Now, this shows my individual user ID that I give out by our system, which means I have a number for every user who is registered on MeasureSchool. And once he authenticates through a login, I will be able to let Google Analytics know this is an individual user, which makes the tracking much more reliable on a user level. So right here, we can take a look at this individual user and see what he has done on our website. All pretty anonymous data, because at this point, you don't know who this user actually is. I would need to go into my CRM system and look up this user. And then I could see individual steps that he took and how long he has been on our website. If you go back here again, there is no real way in Google Analytics to see the individual user via email address or the name, but you can match the data up with your CRM or your email system. You could do this offline, but there's actually a great plugin by David Simpson, who has built a little Chrome plugin, which is the PII viewer for Google Analytics. And you can download this in the extension store of Google Chrome. Now with this plugin, we can simply connect our CRM, for example MailChimp, or import a CSV file. I have something prepared here, so I'll just go ahead and upload this. And it's a simple CSV where I have the user ID and the email address in there and the display name and so on and so on. So the user ID will actually be used as a key to match up to the data that we have in Google Analytics. And if you go back here and reload our page, every time a user ID is shown, we will have the name of the person beside that. We also have a little bar down here where we can do the real mapping. So for example, I'll go with the display name here, and we see some personal identifiable information. Obviously, this is not real data of the users on my website. And obviously, this is also not stored within Google Analytics itself, but on my browser. So this is a great way to actually match up the data that I have available in a CRM system or in an offline source like a CSV file to the actual record within Google Analytics. So if you have that data available somewhere offline, you can build it into your system and see the data right next to the record of the user. This is especially useful when thinking about this User Explorer report, because we now know who this person actually is and can see what he has done on our website. So that's already it with this week's video of measureschool.com. If you're interested in building in the user ID feature for your website with Google Tag Manager, check out our advanced course at measureschool.com/GA-advanced. And if you like this video, please subscribe so we can bring you more videos every week. My name is Julian. Till next time.